Okay, and this video I wanted to do to sort of clear up family. So up to the age of 6, like I said, my extremely wealthy family, my two cousins, that are my age, mine and my brother's age, we grew up with 0 to 6, like brother and sisters. I mean, we were close. So we were pretty close. I remember, all of my family on my mom's side and my dad's side, my grandparents were really the only family. My dad had an older brother and sister, but they were all so young. So 0 to 6, I remember, being around family. Then we moved down here, and I don't remember being around family again. I remember occasionally visiting, and I mean occasionally, very rarely, seeing my grandmother on my mom's side. I remember very rarely, no, I remember hardly ever seeing my uncle, which is, again, is weird because when, a couple years ago when I was working with him, he was like, "Oh yeah, man, I was there," and I was like, "No, you weren't, dude. No, you weren't. Nobody was there. Nobody was there." So what happened? Okay, so this is why I'm explaining this, is because what happened was when I ran away at 16 into my aunt's house, and then my aunt and had that conversation with my mom, and my aunt asked me why, you got to give me a good goddamn reason because the cops are going to come and get you. And I told her, about that time that I got beat up really bad. And that's the only time I told her, you know what I mean? And she called my mom and told her, "Tina, you better not even try sending the cops over here because the game's up." So my mom didn't. And what I'm trying to say is so a narcissist and a manipulator, master manipulator, what she did was she started setting the stage. She had to switch things up. So I guess what she did was she started taking the kids, my brother and my two sisters, and getting family more involved. You know what I mean? Like my uncle and all this stuff, because they started going on trips. I mean, like, it's unbelievable. Like, they led a completely different life. Like, my brother and my sisters led a completely different life after I left. I don't know exactly what happened. I'm sure the transition wasn't easy for my brother. I'm sure none of it was easy for my brother. I mean, he was still a fucking slave taking care of her fucking kids, that she wanted to pop out of her fucking cunt. You know what I mean? Fucking bitch. So yeah, my grandmother, very rarely, and I remember like going to see a movie with her or going to McDonald's, you know what I mean? Just stupid shit, like here and there. My grandfather, I remember there for a few years with my stepdad. When my stepdad was around, we would go on summer vacation to my grandfather's house in North Carolina. So we did see my grandfather like every year for a week, for a few years, I think, during that time period. My auntie, again, so these people, my aunt, my uncle, my grandma, extremely rarely. I mean, extremely, extremely, extremely rarely. Especially the older I got. Yeah, extremely rarely. So just making a note of this again, because it's really confusing, man. You really have to think and remember and think for yourself, because if I go off what these people tell me, they're like, "Oh, we were around, we were there for you." Fuck you, Nick, motherfuckers, man. You know what I mean? You guys weren't around. Bullshit. None of you were around. Yeah. Yeah, so none of these people were around, man. And what my mom did was after, yeah, and that makes sense. See, I've never really I've thought about it, but, just in passing. Like I said, I mean, I've never really sat down and untangled this whole fucking mess. And now that I am, my mom is so involved in everything. I mean, she's a wicked, wicked, narcissist, manipulator, a Luciferian. I mean, whatever you want to call her, she is just sickening. In the fact that this is reverberating down to my daughter, and she was complicit in that abuse as well, of my daughter and my son, is absolutely disgusting. She is a disgusting, filthy woman. But yeah, so, whatever family thought they were there for me, it was definitely not. Most certainly not. I saw them so seldomly, so rarely. It's a joke. And again, like I said, my mom kept me on such a short leash. Whenever we were around people like that, anything, everything was controlled. Every word, every thought, so...